Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Clayton back in the pepper garden, and I just did my first major harvest of all of the varieties we've got. And I figured I did it last year, so I may as well do another pepper tasting video to taste test all the different varieties. I've got my entire list written down here, and we're gonna start with the no heat stuff, try to describe that, and work our way up to the hottest. One more quick look at the bowl before I set it down. Check out all of that color. And there's plenty more towards the bottom too, so we'll get to that. But I'll set this down and we'll get to work. So, like I said, starting with the no heat peppers, we're gonna go for, let's go for a habanero variety. So this here is the New Mix Trick or Treat. It's a habanero, looks just like a habanero, that has no capsaicin. So no chemical that produces heat. So again, looks just like a regular habanero. Fruity flavor, maybe a little watery, but pretty fruity. And kind of, it's not smoky, but that's the closest I can think of is fruity smoky with the habaneros, but it tastes like a habanero with no spiciness to it. So that's the first one. The next one is probably my favorite for snacking so far, and that is the Ahi Delight, which is a capsicum baccatum. Really thick walled. You can't really. Oop, there. Listen to that crunch. Really thick walls on that pepper. Juicy. A little bit of fruity. Pretty much just like a bell pepper, but thicker, juicier. It would be like 1 out of 10 bell pepper. It's like an 11. It's just a little bit fruitier than a bell pepper, but yeah, thicker walled and juicier. And when blended up, this would make a fantastic like thick sauce. So I'm looking forward to adding that into hot sauces. I think this is the last no heat one. This here is one of the first of the New Mex Nobasco to ripen. They're taking quite a long time to ripen. So tastes like a red bell pepper that's in the form of a Tabasco pepper. That's pretty much how I can describe it. There's not a whole lot of meat like there is in the Ahi Delight. It's not a bad taste though. It would be good for flavoring things, or for what I'm going to do with my hot sauces is using that as some filler to help reduce the the overall spice, because I'll be adding some of my hybrids in. So that was the the last no spice pepper, but I have a low spice habanero in the New Mex Suave Orange here, and I've only tried this once, so it was full of liquid. So much fruitier than the so much fruitier than the Trick or Treat, but a little bit of heat. But it's not a whole lot like I can just keep eating it. I have no problems with that. And my guess is that they probably came up with the Suave Orange when they were breeding for the New Mex Trick or Treat. And I mean, and this is just guessing, but I would guess that there was a little bit of a trade-off. When you hit no spice, there's less oils to carry terpenes or something like that, where you just a little bit less flavor. But yeah, the Suave Orange is probably one of the best habaneros that I've had, just because the heat's not overbearing, and you can just really enjoy it. Okay, now things are gonna start getting a little messy, because I really don't know what's hotter now, other than I know what's super hot. So we're gonna try and go through this a little bit faster. We've got the New Mex Lemon Spice, which is a yellow jalapeno, and the New Mex Lotta Lutin, which is a yellow serrano. So let's go for the serrano. It tastes like a capsicum anum. That's how I can describe it. It's got that little bit of a bitter, the same bitter that you get at the end of a taste for a bell pepper. Thick walls. And I will start hiccuping. Yeah, thick walls. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Not plain in a bad way, but plain in the it's a capsicum anum. Lemon spice. Love the crunch. Yeah. Perfect for pickling. Those jalapenos are. And I'd say it's roughly the same as the Serrano. The Serrano probably has more flavor because the jalapeno just has so much more water in it for that crunch. Okay, next up is the Hascaria, which is another capsicum anum. It's a paprika type pepper. This one's already beginning to dry. The drying peppers have immensely more flavor than like the fresh eating peppers, in my opinion. And paprika especially, it's hard to tell, but it's just so much darker in color. I would say probably more nutrition. That's just a guess. But I love adding that to really any dish, and adding it to hot sauces for depth of flavor. And so I'm excited about some of these dried pepper varieties. The Hascaria being from the Middle East, but I've also got some Mexican and New Mexican varieties of drying peppers, which I haven't let fully dry, but some of them I will. But I do want to try some of them in hot sauces. So this one here is the New Mex Garnet, which is a drying chili for powders. They're mostly powders. I don't know the full history of it, but we're going to try it. Even though it's partially dried, it's still pretty thick skin, so you can see how much of it's going to concentrate down as it dries. Not a like front of the tongue like kick of capsaicin. It's like a slow heat, which is refreshing, because the jalapenos, they kind of kick you right at the beginning. Um, there's just a fruity depth to it, and I can understand why people want to dry this and use this all throughout the winter. So again, I'm really excited for attempting to use that in my hot sauces. So here, here we've got a Chiaka pepper, and so it's dried brownish green, or well, not it's ripened brownish green, but the inside, if you can see, is kind of reddish, which is pretty cool, and to the point where it stings my fingers just a little bit. But let's give it a try. Now, these peppers are not at the stage at which they're supposed to be used. They're supposed to be used dried. So the flavor will only concentrate further. But there's an interesting subtle fruitiness and savoriness to it. And it honestly makes me want to dry these peppers further before adding them into the hot sauces. That's pretty cool. I like that. The last drying pepper we have here, it looks just like an orange bell pepper, but it is called a Chihuahua Amarillo. Yeah, another one that, from the description from New Mexico State University, the Pepper Institute, is supposed to be for moles. And a lot of these drying peppers, the outside skin is really tough, which is why it's better to dry them and grind them, or toast them and then grind them, or something of that nature. It's like a thin bell pepper, a little bit of heat, but then there's that ever-present complexity of flavor that is a little bit savory, that tiny bit of bitterness that you typically get with capsicum anthems at the end. I just really think as these start to dry, the complexity will only come out further. So I'm not doing them a ton of justice by eating them fresh, but some of them fresh will be added into the sauces, so I'd like to try them fresh. Okay, we're starting to get into the hotter peppers, and so since I want to still be able to taste this, we're going to do the Sugar Drop Orange, which is another Bacatum. Yeah, it's not going to focus, I don't think. There, kind of, sort of. Yeah, Capsicum Bacatum. I originally thought this was Sugar Drop Peach, but I was wrong. The package said orange. Which, I mean, to be honest, I think it should be called Sugar Drop Peach, because it tastes like a peach up front, and then the heat really kicks on after like count to 3 or 5, something like that, but really fruity. Not a whole lot of meat on there, but there's a lot of flavor packed into it. The seeds still carry a little bit of that bitterness, maybe, but I still add the seeds into the hot sauces. I don't really worry about that. I'll collect seeds for growing, but I grind it all up in there. Okay. Oh, there we go. The tiniest pepper I've got. This one right here is the ají caballero, Capsicum fructens. This one I believe. Really juicy, really fruity. Basically just a skin and seeds, but one of the best for cooking. It goes in basically any dish that we've got. Oh, excuse me. It's a floral perfumey fruitiness, which is for me is hit and miss. Because if you get too perfumey, you kind of get that bitterness that follows it. And so when you eat it raw, you kind of get that. When you cook with it, it's perfect. It's got the right amount of heat, it's got the right amount of fruitiness. Just a little, like a couple of little peppers, 3 to 5, probably 3, in a whole dish. It creates that warming feeling that you want. Just that warming. It's not like a bite. It's just you feel warm, and it's really rewarding. Oh, we're getting closer and closer to the end. The only pepper I don't have represented here is the Brazilian Starfish Orange. That's not ripe yet. Oh, did I do the Jamaican Mushroom Yellow? I don't think I did. So we're gonna do it. This is the Jamaican Mushroom Yellow. Another habanero type Capsicum chinense. Honestly starting to lose a little bit of the taste, but when I tasted this before, and a little bit now, it's somewhat similar to the Jamaican Scotch Bonnet, which I would assume they're related, not certain. This one probably has a little bit less of that perfumey taste. But it's a productive pepper. It's pretty good. Oh, the peanut. There's one, it's a Capsicum bacatum called Peanut that I got somewhere in here. If I can find it. Oh, sorry for the sniffles. You don't understand. You're eating all peppers. So, because it supposedly was shaped like a peanut, kinda, sorta, I get it. It's supposed to be really fruity. We're getting into the hot stuff. This one's not like crazy hot, but I'm feeling it. Perfumey, fruity. It's a thin-walled pepper. I'm very curious to see how that ferments, because I think that complexity will come out even more. It's almost got a meaty savoriness to it. I would be curious if somebody would test that for MSG. I mean, maybe not MSG, something similar to it. I'm not mad at it. I think for a good hot sauce, a Capsicum bacatum really helps to to bring out flavor. And then a diversity of peppers overall helps to bring out the flavor. So we got 2 more. And I'm going to try and make it quick because I know it's going on for a very long time. So, I like that one. This here is my Carolina Reaper. I've grown this out for multiple generations. And it looks a little weird this year. This here is, and I got 2. It's my hybrid. So these 2 are 2 different types of my hybrid pepper, which is a cross between the Carolina Reaper and an ají charpita, both of which are capsicum chinense, the habanero types. And the charpita are a small little BB yellow that point upwards. And so the hybrid points upwards when it's small, and then when it ripens, it turns over. I don't know about this. Okay. Did I drop that other one? I'm putting this off. Okay, here we go. I'm going for the hybrid first because I want to taste it. Ooh. It's a fruitiness. And behind it's a big kick. Oh. But I love the texture of that pepper. It's meaty. It's not super thin-walled. I didn't get into the seedy bit, and I'm not gonna right now. But now, it should be the hottest. I don't know if that hybrid's hotter or the same heat. The Carolina Reaper. Okay. So, oh yeah. You really do taste the Reaper in the hybrid, but there's more of the fruitiness that you would say find in a regular habanero, which probably comes from the ají charpita. But the heat is really high. But in a sauce, like just a small piece of this pepper will flavor the whole dish. So it's not just the heat that it's high in flavors too. Maybe I'd play around with trying to reduce the heat on this by crossing it with a low heat pepper. But honestly, I'm probably gonna keep growing that hybrid because it packs a lot of flavor. Now I gotta put it into hot sauces, dishes, and try it all throughout the winter. But I like it. Okay. Ooh. Well, that was it for all the different pepper varieties. I had fun. It gives me an excuse to try all my peppers. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, cool. Thanks for watching.